Drake Maye drops back to pass. Josh Reynolds over the middle. He hits him. Josh Reynolds to the 40, 30, 20, 10. Touchdown, Broncos.
Oh, wow.
Are we going to be hearing that clip from Dave Logan to send the Broncos to the Super Bowl in a couple of years? That might answer it right there. But we're going to break it down. Drake Maye. We're going to break down Josh Reynolds, what Josh brings to the Broncos, and then will the Broncos consider drafting Drake Maye? Would they trade up for him? We've got a busy show. And then, of course, we're going to dive in to our March Madness. We've got a very interesting preview. Fashanu,
yes,
going up against Dallas Turner, who Brian Baldinger had some very interesting comments on him yesterday. We got a packed show coming to you from Studio A, where we've got Super Bowl 50 champ Todd Davis, Henry Chisholm, you here behind the mic, and yours truly rocking and rolling with you today. How we doing, fellas?
Feeling great. It's Thursday.
It is.
So the week is almost over.
You're smiling as you say that because it's your Friday. This is like not only your Friday, this is like right before school's out for the summer.
Yeah.
Is it spring break for your kids?
No, that was last week.
Oh. So they get like 2 weeks off?
Wow. Another week off. So
wow.
Man, they hit a home run there.
They did.
Wow.
Loving life.
Hope nothing important happens in school.
Does anything that important happen in school, especially in first week of April?
First week of April. What grade?
From high school all the way down to pre-K.
So pre-K, I would guess no.
It's probably a good guess.
Yeah, thank you. Unless you got there's nothing going on in pre-K.
Unless they learn to read and write all in that 1 week.
Do they know how to learn?
Do they know how to learn?
Do they know how to learn?
Sorry.
What are you saying about Todd's
High
kids?
school,
yeah. I feel like every time you missed high school, do you always feel like something crazy happened, like a fight broke out, or like teacher? Yeah, like something big happened every time you missed. Like, dang.
Yeah, no, there's probably nothing happening there either. It's mostly just like they want you to feel bad about leaving, so they give you like 5 hours of work to do when you come back.
Oh yeah, we got packets.
But it's not exactly, there's packets.
Yeah.
But you're not gonna like not learn anything. You just have to like work more to make up for all the kids who did have to actually work.
Yep.
Yeah, they have to punish you for vacation.
One time a teacher really punished me for it wasn't even you can find it on the internet.
Oh boy.
It was I went on a trip to visit schools. So it was my senior year. So it was like to visit
school
colleges.
Trip to school? Oh, okay.
No, yeah, to visit colleges, like something high schoolers should be doing.
Exactly.
And I think I missed 3 days of school, but one of those days it was in I think English class. We had a big test on a book that we were supposed to read. And the day I came back from this, the test was like the day before. So the day I came back was my birthday. And I was like, she's not going to make me take this test on my birthday. I'll just take it like the following day. So my birthday night, I'll like read the spark notes of the book, everything I need to know. So I knew nothing about this book. I don't even think I knew the title of it. And she goes, nope, you're taking the test right now.
Dang.
And it was like a 5-page test on a book that I hadn't opened once. And so I just looked at it and was like, I don't know anything about, I haven't done anything with this book. Got a 0 on it.
Wow.
A 0. The first time I was like mortified on my birthday. Thought it was going to ruin my birthday. And it dropped my grade in the class like 1%.
Oh, okay.
But I was so worried. I was like, oh my God, is my life over right now?
Well, so at college you just went to visit. You can't go there anymore.
That's why I think all tests should just be multiple choice. Because I feel like not doing the work hurts your grade too much. Which sounds weird when you say it, but like I think
that does sound weird.
But I think like you should just have like a bunch of books that you should read, you know, that sort of stuff. Make it multiple choice, so it's like if you don't read all of them, it's not that big of a deal. Because again, it's high school. Like you're not actually going to retain any of the information anyway. Like name a book that you read in high school that you could actually be like, oh, I learned some valuable lessons, and like I could tell. So Catcher in the Rye was big for Yaya, but for the rest of us, there was like you just don't like. It's not that important to do. So like, if
but I think it teaches you like discipline and being able to get work done.
Yeah. That's what school's actually about, though. It's just about like training you to have like a boring job for 8 hours a day and to just sit there and do your work.
Not even that. I think it can train you to be an entrepreneur too. It depends on how you look at it. Like if you just either your job can say, here, this is what you have to do, get it done for the day, or you could just look online and understand what it takes to get where you need to get and
problem
say,
solving.
These are the things I have to do today. And let me get it done.
Okay, there is something to the problem solving aspect.
Yeah.
But I think teachers need to recognize that and make it so that you can get by just by like outsmarting it. Work smarter, not harder. That should be like the theme.
That is very true.
Yeah.
And we probably have some high schoolers watching. Do your homework.
Yes.
Be prepared.
Shout out to all the high schoolers out there.
Dare.
Yeah, shout out to the high schoolers.
Dare to be different. You guys have dare?
Dare, yeah.
Yep. And it's opening day right now for baseball.
Sure is.
Man, what a time that would be if it was like the first Broncos game.
Wow.
How exciting that would be. Where
very similar vibes, honestly.
I mean, Henry, you're all ready to go. You got the hat.
First day, I decided
jersey.
So last year, I was in kind of a dark place with the Rockies. It was like the first time ever. I was just like, I'm not paying attention. I don't care. Like F them. Like sell the team. Like I'm over it. And I remember RK was in that spot last year, and we've kind of flipped because to me, last year is the low point, and now you're like it's young guys. Like you're building back up, and you're not gonna like get anywhere really this year probably. But I'm gonna enter the season with an open mind. And if they win, I'm hoping like, you win like 10 of the first 15, like you come out of the gates up because it's baseball. Anything can happen. And that would at least mean like April can be fun. So I'm not bringing in the negativity. I'm just going to enjoy it for what it is. And I'm probably going to be out in a couple weeks, but I'm going to enjoy today. I'm going to buy a new hat and a new jersey, and it is what it is.
Love the optimism.
Who is your jersey?
Nolan Jones.
Never heard of Nolan Jones.
Okay, let me tell you. You should know Nolan Jones. I mean, I get it. But like, so he was a rookie last year, put up crazy numbers. He's like in MLB The Show. I think he's like the 48th best player in baseball, and he was a rookie last year. Woo. So he's like big power guy. He's like 6'4" or something. Hits the ball. He's also.
Wow.
Yeah.
I was so checked out of baseball.
No,
last
so was
year.
I.
So
and so
sad.
I was like, actually, when I heard people talk about Nolan Jones last year, I was like, I just want Nolan Arenado. So I kind of hate Nolan Jones. But then I got the video game, and he's the only good Rocky. And I was like, okay, I'm a Nolan Jones guy. We're going to see how that goes. It's also tough when now these guys are all younger than me. Because it used to be like, because we're in high school, it's like, yes, Nolan Jones. I have hit the point, though, where it's like, it's almost weird. Mm-hmm. It's not weird, but it's almost weird where it's like, as long as he's a great baseball player, though, he's not a human, and he's just a great baseball player. And
wow.
It
is that
what
how
it
you
is.
view Todd? You just view him as like a good football player, not
Todd's
a human?
full human now.
Oh, he's
Todd's full human.
It's okay, I'll take it. It's all good. I'm good with it.
You need to humble him.
Yeah.
Bring your ring a little bit around more. Just show him who's boss.
Show him who the big dog is.
You know
Big
who
Nolan
else?
guy.
You know who else you're older than?
I mean,
Not
I could
me or
name some.
Todd or you here. You're older than Drake Maye. How's that make you feel?
Yeah. Pretty good. I mean, he plays like a child, so it's not surprising.
Wow.
Shots
A really
fired.
good child. Like,
So
Shots
that's
fired.
how you feel about Drake Maye.
yeah, no, it gives off like, see, it's not sixth grade. It's like, how about freshman? It's like a freshman football team where he's just way better than everybody else. And so he rolls around and like guys are just like bouncing off of him and they'll just like chuck a bomb and you're just like, yeah, he's just the best player on the field. But it doesn't feel like you're watching like high level football. It just feels like he's just the most talented guy out there and he's just going to go make things happen, which is a lot of fun. Plays like that style of football though.
So how does that translate into the NFL? Because when you say all of those things, what pops into my mind is Zach Wilson. And he was doing that stuff at BYU. He certainly did that stuff during the pre-draft experience. That throw is one of the most famous throws from any pro day that he's ever had. Thrown at 70 yards downfield at BYU. And you love Zach Wilson. So why are you taking like the opposite approach with Drake?
So with Zach Wilson, I mean, what you really liked was, it was the production, it was the efficiency, whereas Drake Maye doesn't have that production or that efficiency. Like, you watch Zach Wilson's BYU stuff, like, he's rolling out of the pocket, just bomb. And whenever you watch, like, you just can't ignore it. And part of it, there were a whole bunch of, like, weird things happening. Like, he was not playing against good teams. With Drake Maye, I feel like with the talent that he had, like within himself, not necessarily the talent around him, he should have put up much better numbers. You know, like he should have been more productive.
Wait, what don't you like about 38 touchdowns and 7 interceptions from a passing perspective?
Well, and then the yards too, though.
4,300?
Yeah, but I mean,
isn't the line like 4,500 to be elite?
Yeah.
And he's
exactly
169.
But remember, we're not talking about like, was he good in college? Yes, he was incredible in college football. But like
you said this, stats and production.
But we're comparing it to Caleb Williams. We're comparing it to Michael Penix Jr. We're comparing it to Jaden Daniels. Like compared to all those guys, he does not have the production that those guys have. Like we're not comparing it to college football. We're comparing it to like the top quarterbacks in the country. And
the only one with more yards would be Michael Penix, right?
I think that's correct.
I think Caleb Williams had more too, right?
No, not this year.
Really?
I guess so. The numbers that I pulled for Drake Maye were from 2 years ago.
Okay. There we go. Because he was 26 this year, right?
And
27?
Yes, I believe 27. But that would be more yards than Caleb Williams had this year.
Oh,
Just
he was
like,
at 36. He was 45 last year. Yeah. So yeah, I mean the production. You scared me for a second. The production wasn't there in like an exceptional way. What's exceptional is the talent.
38 and 7 was. Caleb Williams, the year he won the Heisman 2 years ago, he had 200 more yards over the course of a season. Mm-hmm. That's pretty minuscule in my mind.
20 a game.
He had He had 42 touchdowns compared to 38 touchdowns from May. And then Caleb had 5 interceptions compared to Drake Maye 7 interceptions. Like those are all pretty damn close.
Oh, but they're all good. But I mean, if you just look at what all these quarterbacks did this year, Drake Maye is probably last of the bunch.
But yeah,
in terms of this past year, yeah.
Yes.
But I think the same thing that everybody's doing for Caleb, I think you should do for Drake Maye. Caleb didn't have a phenomenal year this year.
He did take a step back.
He took a step back, just like I feel like Drake Maye did.
It's true.
But I still think Drake Maye is a good quarterback. I don't know if he's top 2, but I still think that he's a solid quarterback.
He definitely is a solid quarterback. But again, like when you look at where he's winning points against the field, production is not one of the places he's getting points against in that top 6 quarterback group. Where he gets points is being really big, using that size really well, having a big arm, generally like using the big arm really well. Again, like anything 15 yards downfield or farther, great. It's just the stuff inside of that needs to be coached up. And so that's where, coaches look at things differently, but all of them have massive egos. And so if you're Sean Payton and you see what Drake Maye is, I mean, that's a massive ball of clay that you just get to mold into whatever you want. And he's still a young guy. And I see all the perks there, and there's a real chance that you turn him into like a great quarterback. But when if you were to say all of these guys are what they were on the field when we just most recently saw them, Drake Maye would not be the guy you take. Like you're taking him and hoping for better. I think of all of the top 6, he's the guy you have to sit the most. I think he's most likely to have to, like, whether it's coming off the bench halfway through the season or in year 2, he's the one who just is more. He's raw. He's very raw.
That's interesting.
You mentioned the ball of clay with Drake Maye. I think that is such an important piece of a quarterback when you're looking at what Sean Payton wants or doesn't want. And let's explain that after I tell you about our friends over at Breckenridge Brewery. Did I just hear a Breck beer open from Yahir? Oh, man, he's popping one. Wow. I love it. Yahir, Broncos Country Pale Ale. Is that what that is? Can't really see behind the lights. Yep. Broncos Country Pale Ale flowing on the set here. And if you want to get some Breck brews, we got a Breck Brew Friday coming up tonight. We've got 4 college basketball games. The Avs are back playing. I mean, the 2 best teams in the NHL playing tonight in Colorado. Yep. If you want to watch it with a Breck beer, go to breckbrew.com to find their Breck beer locator where you can get all the Breck beers, plus Good Company, Hard Seltzer, Fun Slinger, so many different beers over at breckbrew.com to see your nearest Breck beer.
And shout out to Circa Resorts and Casinos. You guys know we love Circa. I went down there and had an amazing trip, and I can't wait to go back. It's the first ever adults-only casino, so you don't have to worry about kids running around everywhere. I love my kids, but, everybody needs a break every now and then. They have the world's largest sports book, plenty of bets to be made there. They have a huge 7,000-foot casino with 2 levels, 1,300 slots, 48 table games, and dancing dealers. That's something I hadn't seen in Vegas before.
Yeah, me
I didn't
neither.
know that was a thing, but now I know. You can download the Circa Sportsbook, available in Colorado. You can download the app now. You can go to circa.com. And Circa Sports bets can only be made while physically located in the state of Colorado. You must be 21 or older. All rights reserved. Circa Sports Colorado encourage you to gamble responsibly. If you have a gambling problem, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER or visit problemgamblingcolorado.org.
Man, a lot of people chiming in on the comment section right now. We have Jose who says Henry does like massive balls of clay to mold. Read it just how he said it. And Cody says, Yaya need a drink to deal with Hank. And Tommy says, Zach sounds like Morty. That's probably a show reference. I don't understand.
My God. This is crazy.
Morty, is that like the Fairly Odd Parents?
No, that's Rick and Morty.
That's an adult cartoon.
That's a show, yeah.
It's so good.
Can't do it. Can't do adult cartoons.
You can't do kid cartoons either, though.
I can do a little bit.
You don't watch anything. You watch sports.
I watch sports, yeah.
So, you can't do any of it. Yeah, no, Rick and Morty.
But you only really watch live sports because it's not like you've seen all the 30 for 30s.
That's correct. Yeah. Those could have
crazy.
creeped me out, too.
Yeah.
I get creeped out by TV things.
Rick and Morty's a great show. That was one where, I was in college when it started, and, I had friends who watched it, and I was like, what are you watching? This is terrible. And then they watched the first episode with me, and I was like, this is awful. And then I watched a couple more, and I was like, this actually is good. And then I watched the whole thing, and it's incredible. And I haven't watched the most recent seasons because I just haven't, but...
Because it's not that incredible.
No, just because it's it's just its own unique thing that is really, really good, though. Have you watched it, Todd?
I'm not an avid Rick and Morty fan, no.
Yeah.
Oh, you were giving me crap for not seeing it?
I know what it is.
Exactly. You'll hear
is that Fairly Odd Parents? No.
Fairly Odd Parents.
Okay, touche. You were a step closer than I was. Okay, so when you mentioned Drake Maye being this ball of clay, to me, I think Sean says, I'll let someone else mold that clay. I don't think Sean gets turned on by these quarterbacks that have I said it, that have the strong arm, that have all the physical tools, but just need to be better football players, like the Zach Wilsons. Maybe he would have been turned off by the Josh Allen. Probably wouldn't have liked Josh Allen. So it's not like a good versus bad thing. It's what type of quarterback you want to go to. What's a quarterback that he's praised in the past that he didn't
Mahomes.
get? Patrick Mahomes, yeah. Patrick Mahomes, hell of a football player coming out, though. Just like Michael Penix Jr. Like the stats, no, Patrick Mahomes, hell of a football player. I wasn't involved in the quarterbacks in that draft at all because the Broncos did have Paxton Lynch. There was no chance that they were going to draft a quarterback. So I don't know why the hell Patrick Mahomes fell. He obviously, hindsight being 2020, should have been the number 1 overall pick. But even not hindsight, how the hell was Mitchell Trubisky drafted before him? Mahomes had the production. He had all the physical tools. People said when they got him on the whiteboard, he was tremendous. So I don't know how he fell. But so it's not like a bad versus good thing. But one of the quarterbacks that Sean Payton praised coming out of the draft and praised after he was in the NFL having a good rookie season, Mac Jones. He's not a ball of clay that you mold. He's a guy where he has it up top. The physical tools, not really there. Drew Brees, physical tools, doesn't blow anyone out of the water. He was a free agent because the Chargers wanted to get a guy that had more physical tools with Phillip Rivers. So they let Drew Brees walk, but had it mentally. So I think for Sean, the mental component of the game is so much more important than the physical, and that is not the case with so many head coaches, GMs, and teams in the NFL. So I think you're right about Drake Maye. Man, the potential, your favorite word, Todd, the talent, the physical tools are absolutely there. I don't think that's what gets Sean going.
I would still say Mahomes was more of a toolsy guy, though, because, again, I just pulled up, the scouting report from NFL.com. Willingness to default to playground style appears to limit his ability to get into a consistent rhythm. Needs to improve anticipatory reads, learn to take what the defense gives him. Decision making can go from good to bad in a moment's notice. Will leave pocket prematurely. Looks a little less mobile. I guess that's different. But there were a lot of question marks about like the decision making and that sort of stuff. And why you draft him is more like the big arm playmaker out of structure.
I don't know, because everyone said that when they got him on the board, he blew everyone out of the water. And to be fair to the people that write these scouting reports, they don't get that.
Yeah,
insight.
and we don't get that about any of these guys.
Right.
Like, I guess there's some like rumors.
Right.
I guess we haven't gotten any, have we?
About guys on the board. I don't think so.
I don't think we've gotten any yet. So you just don't really know.
Right.
And I don't know who's really ready, like,
Also
fresh
true.
out of college. I think most of these guys need time to develop all their, like, full potential or skill sets. But I think Drake Maye has a lot of what you're looking for as far as a quarterback. He has the production and also the arm strength and also the size, stature. And so
The
I
length?
think no. I don't know. I don't know anything to
He's
do
a
with that
little
man's length.
Oh, girthy?
Oh my God.
Wow. You said boxy. I don't know what
You
else
opened the
that
door.
should
So
bring
I
to.
think there's just a few quarterbacks, and I would point to like Andrew Luck, who you knew coming out of Stanford, like you knew he had it mentally. But I think a lot of guys, even very early picks in the first round, don't have it all figured out. But I think he has a lot of it figured out, and I think if you look at the other quarterbacks in this draft, besides Jaden Daniels and my favorite Michael Penix, I think he would have it the most figured out.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I totally agree.
So,
yeah, Penix would be number one on that list. And then after that, it's a tough discussion.
are you putting like Caleb out of this, or are you including him?
No, including him. Like, because again, he's another one where he's out of structure, and when he makes throw, more than half of his throws are either out of structure or RPOs. And so it's tough to give him like a whole bunch of points for difficult reads. And again, like you're going off of rumors at that point. And they get to do the interviews, figure all that stuff out for themselves. But like JJ McCarthy might be next. Like I don't think it's Drake Maye. Like it might be Jaden Daniels next. Like it might be, I don't think it's Bo Nix, because all of that's just like quick reads, one read, like, so I don't even know. But Penix is a clear, far and away number one there.
You would put J.J. McCarthy above Drake Maye?
In terms
I
of
would.
making multiple reads, I think so.
JJ McCarthy might be the most pro-ready guy because he comes
Oh
from
my
a
gosh.
more pro-ready
You
system.
guys are falling for the
It's
trap.
a trap.
Everybody's falling for it now.
It is.
Everyone
A couple weeks ago, we were not talking
Yeah.
about J.J. McCarthy
Yeah,
this way.
true.
Now he's the
It's
most
true.
pro-ready.
It's true. It's true. And I think that's the legitimate NFL buzz right now. Todd, there's a chance he goes number 2.
I know. I heard
Number
the buzz.
2.
This is crazy to me. This is crazy. I hope it all works out, and I hope that the young man has a great career. But I just feel like it's crazy to not have the production that so many other quarterbacks have, but now you're the most ready, the most capable.
Yep.
We've never seen you do it, but we know you're the guy.
That's the tough part.
He did it
interesting
in
to me.
practice, though, Todd.
Yeah.
But
Just the
with,
third downs.
with JJ, he did everything that was asked of him. Now, they didn't ask a lot of him, but he did everything that was asked of him. 27-1 as a starter. And being an Alabama fan, my last impression of JJ McCarthy in a clutch situation was at the 2-yard line in the college football semifinals. He asked to get a touchdown with 2 minutes left in order to tie the game to send it into overtime, and he does that. Just like anytime he was in that game, he only threw for 221 yards, but 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. It was money.
I'm not buying
It's
it.
a tough one.
Fair.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's bring this back to Drake Maye. And I want to know exactly how you guys view him and how you think the Broncos view him by throwing a couple of different scenarios out here. And the first one, I want to let you think about it. Would you trade up for Drake Maye? To what price and to what pick would you be willing to go up and get him? And I'll let you think about that when I tell you about our friends over at Fubo TV. Go to FuboTV.com/DNVR to get 15% off your first month of Fubo Pro. There's some March Madness games on CBS these next few days. If you want to catch those, go to Fubo TV. They're going to have it. Of course, Nuggets, Avs, Rockies is going to be on TV. So catch it over at FuboTV.com/DNVR. Scan the QR code on our screen, which is going to take you to get that 15% off. You want college football, you want NFL, you want any sports, plus 140 live channels of sports shows and movies. They've got it. And you can stream from any device anywhere in the country. So download Fubo TV, go to FuboTV.com/DNVR to get that 15% off your first month of Fubo TV.
Yeah. Also, got to give a shout out to our friends at Foco because they've got all sorts of different gear. Just the best stuff. Oh, there we go. So their promotion right now, like their big new featured items, they're baseball mascots, but the mascots are the chefs at like a concession stand, and they're bobbleheads. I think, wow. Yeah, those heads bobble. Yeah, so they're you buy them. They've got all the different teams, and they're just because you never know what you're gonna get. But they're the mascot.
So many different things.
I know it's incredible. I want to see the Dinger one real quick. They're opening day themed, of course. Oh wow, the other ones they've got going right now. You can get. I'm not sure if they have every team, but they've got bobbleheads of players holding their own bobbleheads of themselves.
Wow. Do you think both heads bobble?
Let's see if we can figure it out. Seeing double, we are
they've
two.
Got to, right?
Get ready to bring twice the excitement to your fan cave. Let's see. It doesn't say if they bobble. No videos. Can't confirm whether they bobble or not. This is the incredible stuff that you can't find anywhere else. Limited edition bobbleheads. They've got so much cool stuff. I'm sure that when the Broncos unveil their new uniforms, there's going to be some pretty cool Foco stuff on the team there too. But if you want to get ahead of that, which you absolutely should, they've got stuff from all the different teams. They got all the different gear. It's not just bobbleheads. It's all sorts of different memorabilia. They've got like shoes and other things. What's the thing different than shoe? Oh, like what do you call that? You cook in it? Oh, ties. Yes, ties. You cook. Apron. Apron's the word I was looking for. It. Damn. Overalls. They have
Hawaiian shirts.
Hawaiian shirts.
They have a Dinger Colorado Rockies mascot plush hat where you put it on and you look like Dinger.
I was just looking for one of those.
Sold out.
Sold. Of course they are. They're sold out everywhere. Yeah. But if you go to Foco, you can use the code DNVR10. Get 10% off all non-presale items. It's a Colorado company, so we love to support them. They've got great stuff. And there's a link in the description as well.
Todd, before I ask you these Drake Maye questions, did you get got? Be honest with us. Did you get got by a fake jersey?
No, I know it was fake.
Okay.
No.
Because I saw it. I saw you respond to it, and I was like, he must know that's a joke. And then I was like, wait, does he?
No, I completely knew it was a joke.
I didn't
was just
see.
Playing along with it because those were horrible.
Could you imagine if that was real though?
Absolutely not.
That would be the first time I would question Broncos ownership, is if they approved those jerseys.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
can't do that.
These are going to be bad.
Okay, so let's dive into this Drake Maye. Would you trade up for Drake Maye if you're the Broncos?
I don't want to trade up for anybody. Just honestly.
That's fair.
Yeah.
But if let's just make it we have to trade up.
Yep.
So if Drake Maye is at 4 versus JJ McCarthy, I probably would take Drake Maye.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But you're not. So then would you trade? Let's see, because you're not going to do 3 first-round picks. No. Yeah.
No.
Would you trade 12 this year and your first-round pick next year to go up and get Drake Maye wherever it might be?
I'd trade 12. A 2 for the next year,
okay,
and then a 3 for the year after that.
Okay, and that's it.
String it,
that's
really
the
push
most.
it down the line.
That's the most.
Yeah,
that's the Sean Payton way to do it. Push it down the line. Okay, Henry, would you trade up for Drake Maye?
It's a tough one. Like I'm struggling with all these quarterbacks. Is Caleb Williams 1, Jaden Daniels 2? That's what I know for sure. But then when you get into like the JJ McCarthy or Drake Maye conversation, Drake Maye is the hype. Like I feel dumb saying no, I wouldn't go get Drake Maye because of what everybody said about him for the past year. And like you see it on tape occasionally, and there's a chance that he's just a great quarterback down the line. No, I wouldn't do it. No, I would do the same thing Todd would. You know, I go
anything but future first.
I would go. I do what Todd did. Yeah, I wouldn't give up any future first.
Okay.
That's where I'm at.
Okay. So wherever that gets you, the 8th pick, the 6th pick, wherever.
But if the Broncos did do something crazy and dumb to go get Drake Maye, I've said this before, I would enjoy it. I'd be excited by it.
Yeah.
I think using my brain, I'd be like, no, bad idea. He's not worth that. But it would certainly be a lot of fun if they did it.
It would. And I mean, hope. Yeah, rookie quarterbacks are hope and fun for a fan base. So then that means, let's say something crazy happens and Drake Maye drops to 12. Would you draft him at 12 if you're the Broncos?
Yeah, if he's sitting there. Because, I mean, we got to think about it. I think he's had a lot of hype around him, but he actually has produced some good numbers at times. And we look at all these other quarterbacks. You know, J.J. McCarthy and Penix had the best offensive lines this year. Wide receivers, Caleb Williams, J.J. McCarthy, and Michael Penix Jr. all had great wide receivers.
And Jaden Daniels.
And Jaden Daniels had great wide receivers. Great running back, J.J. McCarthy had that. Yep. Who did Drake Maye have?
He had nothing.
He had the old Texas head coach.
Mac Brown.
Yep, exactly.
Wow, yeah.
Yep.
So I'm saying, like,
right. This
kid was able to do a lot of good with not too many options. And I think, you know, his ability to sit in the pocket and still find open receivers downfield. Yes, he has to work on his short game. I think he's done enough to be looked at in the same light that he was last year still.
That's fair.
So
that's very fair.
I would take him at 12.
That's very fair. I don't think the Broncos would trade up for Drake Maye. I don't think the Broncos would draft him if he's there at 12.
Think they would?
I don't think they would at all.
Dang.
Because one of the things that Sean Payton keeps saying is there's only 1 or 2 quarterbacks in a draft that work out. And we've gone through, what was it, the 2021 draft class, and now only one guy is going to be the starter, and only one guy's going to still be on his original team. And that's a number 1 overall pick, Trevor Lawrence, and even he has been disappointing for where he was drafted. Sean Payton keeps pointing to that. He says quarterbacks, there's always going to be 5 or 6 of them in a first round, but only 1 or 2 of them works out. So he is not taking the approach of, oh, just take any quarterback. And if one falls, it's a value pick. He's saying there's 1 or 2 guys that I'm going to fall in love with maybe, or that I will like, or that will work out. So it's not just swinging on quarterbacks. And I understand that. Like, Drake Maye falls to me at 12, I might take him. But that's not the approach that Sean Payton would take, I don't think. So I think he's going to identify 1 to 3 guys in this first round and say, let's go up to get them. And if we can't, then let's just go with Brock Bowers. Let's go with Dallas Turner. Let's go with one of these other guys.
Who do you think his guys are? Because you said 2 guys, 1 or 2 guys are draft. Who are his 2 guys?
I think it's Jaden Daniels and J.J. McCarthy, with Caleb Williams being off the board. If somehow I think Sean would like Caleb, but I think those are the 2 guys. I think those are the 2 guys. And speaking of guys, your guy, Michael Penix Jr. So the Broncos are at Drake Maye's pro day today. They also have representation at Michael Penix Jr.'s pro day.
Representation. That's cold. That's cold.
Send somebody.
What's not?
Equipment guys out there.
Flip is like,
Yeah, they're represented.
This guy's socks are no good.
Exactly.
Well, Michael Penix Jr. just ran his socks off. He just ran a 4.53 40. For a guy that is immobile, first off, that's insane for a quarterback.
Yeah.
For a guy that, multiple knee injuries, viewed as the least immobile quarterback in the draft right now. A 4.53, holy hell.
Makes you rethink a lot of things.
I don't think it does, though.
I think it does. It makes you go back. You just got to rewatch all these runs and be like, did we miss something here? Because it doesn't make sense. Because he shouldn't do that. I think it shows that the Washington staff, the Washington Huskies staff, said we need to prioritize his health and him not getting hit more than we need to utilize his wheels. But clearly he still got the wheels if you want to break it out. Now, when he did use those wheels at Illinois is when he just got hurt Indiana is when he got hurt over and over and over again. So I think if I draft him, even though he is fast, I think I'm still saying, let's have you be a pocket passer. But it is nice to know that if you need him to take off, which you will occasionally, man, he's got those wheels.
So if he comes out and says that he had 200 rushing yards in practice every day, do we believe him?
Well, he's not getting hit, so yeah.
I don't know. I don't know anymore.
Yeah.
JJ Shade.
That is a crazy one. You just have to go back and it doesn't make sense. Because, like, you go put in perspective, Justin Fields 4.47.
Okay.
It's not that much slower. It's like
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that is not what it looks like. Or, for example, like Josh Allen, 4.76. Like, you're talking
4.76?
Yeah, you're talking significantly faster. Like, Mahomes, 4.8. Like, you're talking like...
So I've been trying to tell y'all, man.
You have.
If nobody wants to listen to me, you know what I'm saying?
So with this news...
Hopefully the representation.
So, for example, here, this is a good list. Vince Young, 4.48. Marcus Mariota, 4.52. Josh Johnson, actually 4.53. Kaepernick, 4.53. Russ, 4.53. Pat White, 4.55. Cam Newton, 4.56. Like,
and
that's
those guys that were moving on the
exactly.
field.
But again, like, he didn't look that fast when he ran.
Because they didn't want him to run.
But no, but like, he did run. Like, there were plays where he ran and he did not look that fast. So I don't know. We got the draft pod at 3:30, so be ready for that. But between now and then, I will be going back and watching all those because the number doesn't match up at 3. Okay, draft pod's at 3. I was lied to.
I don't think it changes. I mean, I think there's a great perk about him, but now I'm not thinking like, oh, let's draft him and make him run quarterback now.
No. You still don't run him, but you know that he has the ability to escape a little bit more than you thought.
Yeah.
Which was the knock on him. And then it's like, oh, Andy's old and like he gets hurt. But like when the only real football knock is that he isn't the athlete that those other guys are, and now the numbers say he's the third best athlete of any of them. Again, they're just the numbers, and so maybe it's he always wears like the big old shoulder pads, and he has like that, like he
it's
does
the body,
wear.
It's the wide.
Exactly. So
it's the cummerbund that makes him look big.
it is, but also like it might slow him down that he's wearing all that stuff, whereas like a Jaden Daniels is absolutely not because he's playing for speed. So that could be the difference between like the number time and the actual like speed that shows up. I don't know. That I'm in shock though.
Yeah, really impressive for him. So Broncos out at Washington's Pro Day to see Michael Penix. Broncos also out at UNC's Pro Day to see Drake Maye. And one guy that they just made official, they officially signed Josh Reynolds. Todd, what type of football player are the Broncos getting with Josh?
I think he's a good football player. He's a tall guy, 6'3", but he's only about like 194 pounds. So he's not like a solid guy. He's not as solid as like Cortland as far as stature.
Yeah.
But I think he does a lot of things well. He's not afraid to run over the middle, catch footballs going across the middle. He'll take the contact, and he's able to shield guys off using his body. So I think he's very, very good. I think he'll be a good piece for the Broncos. Wouldn't look for him to come in here and be wide receiver number 1.
Yeah.
But I think he adds good depth, and I think he'll be a starter for us in some capacity.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that he brings is versatility, and Sean has made that so clear how important versatility is for skill position players on the offensive side of the ball. And Sean's clearly still trying to get those guys in. He talks about jokers, and essentially that's like the most versatile player on offense, but he wants a running back to be able to line up in the slot. He wants a tight end to be able to block and catch passes and then line up in the slot and line up outside at times. And I think that's one of the things he loved about Michael Thomas was a Cortland Sutton size, but he lined up in the slot all the time. Now, like you said, Josh Reynolds is tall, not as big as a Cortland Sutton, but he lines up inside, outside. He can block. He can catch. So I think this is a very Sean Payton type of player where I think we're going to see him have his best year, whether it's this year or next year, with his 2-year deal with the Broncos. Right now, he's capped out at I think 620 yards is his best receiving season. I think Sean views him as a guy that can just have Jerry Jeudy type of production, which is like in the 900s. And if it's that, then the contract is great because $7 million a year, up to a max of $7 million a year, you get 800-900 yards of production. That's phenomenal. Now, I think Sean views him as a guy that when I think of this, I think of like an Emmanuel Sanders signing. When the Broncos got Emmanuel, they had a vision for him of, you've been a good player in the past. We think you can be great with us. And the Broncos were absolutely right about that. I think that's how Sean views him. I'm not saying he's going to be Emmanuel Sanders of constantly over 1,000 yards. But I think that's how they view him, as a guy in their system can be better than what he's been in the past.
You know what's tough about those Joker guys is that they have to be really, really smart.
Yeah.
Not saying that Josh isn't smart, but I know that's a tough position to be in, because every time they line up a play, you got to know this play and the next check that they run. But you also got to know what the X, the S, the Y, and the Z are running.
Yeah.
Just because you may be at any position at any time. So you got to be like a really, really smart football player to be that kind of do-it-all kind of player. So hopefully he is that, because that's a lot to handle.
Yeah, it's a really good point.
Yeah. It's the stuff over the middle that I think is kind of the reason you bring him in, just because that's something that hasn't really existed all that much up until this point. I'm trying to get the numbers from the Broncos, but last year, 51 of Josh Reynolds' targets were between the numbers, 21 were outside. And typically there's more between the numbers than outside. And that is true of the Broncos as well, but the splits aren't nearly as wide. So that's where you start. The slot versatility is interesting. I mean, about a third of his snaps were from the slot last year, whereas like an Amon-Ra St. Brown, it was a pretty close to a 50-50 split. Jameson Williams also kind of slot. So I wonder if the Broncos see him as a slot who was forced outside more than you'd like because of the other guys on the team. He's not like your typical build, but he is shifty. Like, he is a really shifty guy. It's like the change of gears, change his pace. Like, he almost has some Jerry Jeudy, and like it might be like the slim hips and the way that he kind of like can angle them. But you see that on like the deep routes, he can tie up DBs a little bit, but then cut back inside. Yeah, like solid route runner, solid hands, a good blocker. Jaquan McMillan like cooked him once last year too. He's not like a perfect blocker, but he's a sub 200-pound receiver, so what do you expect? He's just like a solid all-around guy who, if you put him on the field, he can get the job done. He's probably not he's not like a game breaker or anything. But if you leave him on the bench, you're also not thinking like, oh no, it's not like Marvin Mims. Like, how did you guys not put him on the field more? It's Josh Reynolds. Like, if he's your number 4, number 5 receiver, that's probably a good spot for him. But they must think more highly of him than that because they gave him more money than that.
And I'm really curious to see what the contract numbers are, because we know it's 2 years up to $14 million. If it's like a guaranteed $6 million each year, okay, then he's probably going to be their number 2 receiver, like without a doubt. If it's more like $2 million a year guaranteed with $5 million in incentives, then it's like, okay, maybe he is their 4th, and then they do view him as like a kind of bench player that adds good depth. So that's going to be really telling. And when we get those numbers, I think that's when we have the conversation of what does this mean for the future of Courtland Sutton, Marvin Mims, Tim Patrick, his role in this group. All right, let's go to our March Madness draft here and update. We've got the final first round matchup. And yesterday, guys, we had 2 tackles go against each other, and we were all in agreement on who we would take. We all said we would take J.C. Latham, and the people disagreed with us. Fuaga won with 69% of the vote to Latham's only 31%. So Fuaga moves on. The 7 seed moves on here. And in our final first round matchup, we got the 8-9 matchup with Dallas Turner, Alabama pass rusher. On the Broncos, he'd be an outside linebacker, going up against Olu Fashanu, the big, talented tackle from Penn State. Which one would be a better draft pick for the Broncos, Todd?
Not even close. We need an outside linebacker. I think we have a good group of guys in that room right now, but we need like that dominant pass rusher that's going to really cause offenses to prepare for him and leave other guys one-on-one. So I think even guys like Baron Browning would really, really benefit from somebody across from him that consistently got 10-plus sacks a year and then caused, teams to double-team him, chip him, and leave Baron Browning one-on-one. I think that would be a great, great dynamic for the Broncos. So I'm going Dallas Turner all the way, and let's see what happens.
Yeah, Dallas Turner, obviously same class as Brock Bowers, but it was those two who were like the SEC freshmen a few years ago where you're just like, oh, these guys are studs. These are top 5 picks. Like, they're freaks. And And actually, I think that was the year Drew Sanders was actually Dallas Turner's roommate at Bama. I was talking to Drew about that a couple months ago. But his second season, not so good. Like, I think he started every game. He definitely played in every game, finished with 4 sacks. And that's when the hype kind of like bottomed out. And all of a sudden it's like, well, how does he even fit in here? Like, is he even going to be a starter the next year? Like, he has the talent. He has to be, those sorts of things. And he bounced back, All-American, all that sort of stuff, had 10 sacks. I think before that he had like 8.5 as a freshman. But with him, it's the tools that really get you excited. Because, I mean, like, Drew had 9.5 sacks last year, like third round pick as it would turn out. With Dallas Turner, 4.46 40, crazy for an edge rusher, 6'3", 247. Because Vaughn was 6'3", 248. Like he was right there as well. So you're looking for that type of prospect, just like a crazy explosive speed rusher off the edge. The production came back. It wasn't like ridiculous production.
That's pretty damn good.
Yeah, it was good production.
He led the country in tackles for a loss.
Definitely
14.5.
Interesting. Okay, so
10 sacks.
Yeah, it's good production, but it's not commanding top 5 pick. It's like, I'm curious what Chase Young's stats were. I'm trying to find Vaughn's too, because I would imagine it was more than 10. Actually 10.5, but his junior year he had 17 sacks.
Which is
so there you go.
Insane.
So you're not looking at somebody who's like this lock to be a crazy player in the NFL. He is a potential play. And Vaughn also 21.5 tackles for loss. Just ridiculous player.
Absolutely.
So,
nuts.
but yeah, Vaughn's awesome, or Dallas Turner's awesome, good player. You're just hoping that he's like a 15 sacks a year guy, but you're confident that he's at least like a 7.5, 8 sacks per year guy.
I totally agree with that.
Yep.
And Henry, I mean, the comp by Lance Zierlein over at NFL.com is exactly a guy you described.
He didn't say Vaughn, did he?
He did not say Vaughn.
Thank God. You can't say Vaughn.
You weren't saying Vaughn.
No. Was it like, who's that guy who bounces around? He was a Raider for a second?
Nope. He's been in the news the past couple of weeks here. Here's how you described him.
Yep.
Super talented, all the physical traits.
Brian Burns.
Bingo.
There you go.
Bingo. A guy that you hope can get 15 sacks a season.
Yep.
Like, that's like I talked about it when they traded for Brian Burns and gave him over $30 million a season. Like, this is a guy where I should look down. It should be 15, 14, 17 sacks in the past 3 years. No, it's 8, 9, 10, 8. And it's like, okay, yeah, like, you're happy with that. Not for $30 million, but like, if you draft Dallas Turner at 12 and he gets you 10 sacks every single season, really solid pick. Really good player.
Yep.
At 12, you're happy with it. With the number 2 overall pick like Vaughn was, that's a little disappointing. You need to see that high end. So that's what you're getting with Dallas Turner. And if you get that at 12, if you get Brian Burns at 12, you are happy with that.
Yep.
And so that's exactly what you're getting. The thing about both of these guys, really good guys off the field. Both had some like All-American, academic All-American things, both leaders, both captains of their team. So you're getting really good guys off the field. And just the reason why I totally agree with you, Todd, that it's unquestionably Dallas Turner for this pick is Olu's like sitting on the bench for the Broncos his first year. That doesn't make any sense. Dallas Turner is a starter with extremely high upside. So
yeah,
I'm with you guys, Dallas Turner.
Yep. Oh, Fashanu is a freak, though.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not sure. I wonder, I pulled this up, but he's a really big guy.
6'6", 312.
That's what it is.
Yep.
But the thing is, he's still like skinny.
Yeah.
Like, he's going to wind up being like 330 or something because he's only 21. I think maybe he's 22, but he's still like building out and becoming more. But he's just like an athletic freak who also plays really well.
Yeah.
Like, he might have also been an All-American as like a younger guy. And so the ceiling there is also just
he was a first
insane.
team All-American.
Yeah, first team All-American, and he's still like developing physically.
Yeah.
So you can't go wrong. But I mean, Dallas Turner, he's like a 5-star prospect who checked all the boxes at Bama. Like, he's just a textbook first-round pick who, if you get him, you're lucky to have him.
A lot of people at Bama thought that Dallas Turner is going to be a better pro than Will Anderson. And Will Anderson, I think, was just rookie of the year in the NFL. He was the number 3 overall pick, I think, last year. So, I mean, the talent's there. And Dallas Turner, our guy, Brian Baldinger, yesterday, I asked him who the best non-quarterback was in this draft, and he went with Dallas Turner. And this is a guy where if there's a run on quarterbacks, and then you see Brock Bowers, and then there's a run on wide receivers, Dallas Turner could be there for the Broncos. He could be the first defensive player taken in this draft, and it could be at 12 to the Broncos. So if the Broncos want to go BPA, it's probably not going to be quarterback at number 12. Dallas Turner is very much in this conversation. This is not a sexy pick, but it is a pick that could really help the team in the future. This could end up being like the Von Miller, where they got Von Miller when they clearly needed a quarterback in 2011. They had Tim Tebow and Kyle Orton on the team. You get the best player on the board there. Then the following year, you get the quarterback. So if you want to take the rebuilding approach, he could be absolutely that pick.
Also, just looking back, Will Anderson had a 17.5 sack season as well. And that's the difference between being like top 3 pick right there versus might be there at 12. Probably not, but might be.
Man, 17 sacks for Will Anderson and Vaughn is insane in college.
Yeah.
I guess insane in the NFL, obviously, but insane in college. All right. So go to DNVR_sports over on Twitter, X, and you can vote for that. We'll get into the second round tomorrow, which I think we're going to have some interesting matchups with quarterbacks going up against elite prospects. Do we have any questions for us? We got a couple of questions saved for us on the chat. First one coming in from Angel T, who says, is a trade for Brock Purdy out of the question? Might be a Sean Payton guy.
It is right now. I mean, because he's still got 2 more years on the rookie contract.
He can get paid after this year, though.
He can get paid after this year, but the 49ers are going to have to make that decision of, like, are we giving this guy $50 million a year, or are we going to just keep kind of turning guys through so we can keep Nick Bosa and, like, the all-pros they have at every position? And so that's going to be a weird decision to make, and almost everybody would go for the quarterback, but it wouldn't be the craziest thing in the world if they decide before his contract is up to trade him and get something back.
It might be the only team in the NFL that would do something like that because they've kind of done it.
Totally. And so trading for Brock Purdy isn't super crazy. I mean, it's crazy, but maybe not like the craziest. Right now, it is the craziest, though, because you're not doing it.
Does it become
realistic? He has played year 2, so next offseason, it could become a discussion, but more likely they pick up the 5th-year option. It's after year 4 before he gets like
no 5th-year option.
No,
that's right. That's right. So maybe it is next offseason, but it could also be a tag. You play him on the tag. It could be next offseason. They just have so many guys. Like, what are you going to do? Are you going to move on from Nick Bosa so that you can keep Brock Purdy?
No, I think
that's ridiculous.
If they win a Super Bowl this year, Brock Purdy's getting $50 million a year. If they don't, then it does become super interesting. Because also, let's say Brock Purdy has the exact same year this coming year that he had last year, where they get to the NFC Championship game or the Super Bowl and he balls out like 30 touchdowns, 7 interceptions or something like that. You are going to be able to get multiple first-round picks for him. So if you do that and then you get a rookie quarterback to come in, man, that's fascinating. But right now,
I don't know about multiple. Maybe one.
Question.
Yeah.
Maybe one.
You know, those late round draft guys, they always have that stigma on them, you know?
That is true.
It's true, but...
Which is probably why we talk about him the way we do now. Because, like, 113 passer rating, 4,200 yards, like, 31 touchdowns, 11 interceptions.
He was a first-round draft pick, he'd be...
Yeah. I mean, if Trevor Lawrence...
$50 million would be guaranteed.
Oh, guaranteed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But if he put up Trevor Lawrence numbers, he'd be on the verge of getting benched. Like, we'd be talking about should, like, they be replacing him.
It's crazy.
Yeah, so...
It's crazy. And our friend RIP says, thoughts about drafting McCaffrey. We're not talking about Christian McCaffrey. We're talking about Luke McCaffrey, the wide receiver out of Rice.
Yeah, I think, what is he projected right now? Like a 3rd-round pick, maybe?
Yeah, he's climbing. Maybe closer to, like, probably 4th more than 3rd.
3rd to 5th.
Yeah, but, I mean, which is A couple months ago, he wasn't supposed to get drafted at all because he was like, I think he had 1,000 yards for Rice, but everybody's like, okay, it's whatever. He's a McCaffrey. And then he works out the way he does at the Senior Bowl, and everybody's like, oh, he's actually like a legit receiver. And then he runs what he runs at the combine. And you're like, oh, he's actually like a legit athlete as well. So yeah, who was it? It was Matt Miller, the ESPN mock draft. He had the 7-round mock draft. That was the one where the Broncos trade up to 4 to take McCarthy. I think he had McCaffrey, the Broncos, in the 3rd or 4th round. So yeah, it's not crazy. And he is that true slot, which solves kind of like your versatility thing, because you have your big guy with Sutton, you have your speed guy with Mims, you got your slot with McCaffrey, you've got Tim Patrick who can kind of blend things together, you've got Josh Reynolds who can kind of blend things together, so you're insulated against injuries because you got guys who can fill roles. I think that would be a nice little final piece.
Nice story too.
That is story. And that is why we got the question, is because of the story.
I was going to say, the last name helps him a ton, especially in Broncos country, where Ed and obviously Christian are very loved here. It would be fun. The storyline would be great. We also share the same birthday, along with Brandon Jones, so I love that.
There we go. So bring him in.
Why not? Go. Bring him in. Might
also,
as well.
Jimmy Garoppolo's best passer rating, he had 103 and 102.
Okay.
With the Niners. He had a 113 with the Patriots. But so that's what I'm watching. If Brock Purdy's like sticking at that 113, like he's like legit, that falls off to like a 102. Like, oh, is he just Jimmy G?
And we'll see if he has Brandon Ayuk with him this year or not.
Will.
That has been drama-filled, and we're not even in April yet. So we'll continue to follow that. Maybe he's traded to the Broncos. Who knows? And we'll continue to follow all the news. We got one more show on deck for the week tomorrow, 11 a.m. It's been a blast. Hit us with a thumbs up on the way out. And, Todd, you enjoy your well-deserved vacation.
Oh, I can't wait.
Enjoy that sun, and we will see everyone, except for Todd, tomorrow at 11 a.m.
We all silly like the mayor.